I'm Erica Belcher, and I'm going to talk you through key findings from Centre for London's latest London Intelligence publication, providing you with a snapshot of how Londoners are feeling about the current pandemic, how they're being affected by it, and what they expect from the year ahead. This polling work provides rich insight into how Londoners are faring through an unprecedented public health and looming economic crisis. We'll be conducting this work and publishing a new video every 3 months, so stay tuned. We know that different Londoners have very different chances of getting ill with coronavirus, and our polling shows that their economic experiences are very different too. It's certainly not the great leveller that some claim it to be. Londoners who usually work are seeing huge drops in their hours. 27% of employed Londoners say they have worked less than 10 hours in the past week. This is compared to just 3% of workers normally. The impact of lockdown has been widespread, and as many as 29% of London employees have been on furlough at some point since the introduction of the scheme in March. The proportion of people doing overtime has also plummeted. 15% have worked over 40 hours than before the crisis. The recession has already hit some, but not all Londoners in the pocket. While some Londoners remain financially stable as they save on childcare and transport costs, others have been shouldering the burden of temporary closures, job losses and reduced pay. These two groups are almost equal in size. Nearly half of Londoners report a decline in their disposable income, while a third say that their disposable income hasn't been affected. 17% also say that it has increased. More people have seen their income increase in London than in the rest of the country, probably because more are able to work remotely. So, what are Londoners anticipating for the coming year? On the whole, Londoners are more optimistic about their health than their finances. Still, despite recruitment plummeting and uncertainty around reopening, more Londoners are optimistic than pessimistic about their employment and financial prospects over the coming year. So, what are Londoners anticipating for the coming year? Well, on the whole, Londoners are more optimistic about their health than they are their finances. Still, despite recruitment plummeting and uncertainty around job reopening, more Londoners are optimistic than pessimistic about their employment and financial prospects over the coming year. There could be several reasons behind this optimism. Perhaps Londoners believe that the pandemic and recession will be sharp but short-lived, or some may think that their personal situation can only improve. Young people tend to be more optimistic about their future income, which is more likely to progress as they age, but groups with less security in their job or housing tenure are concerned about what the coming year will bring for them. Non-UK born Londoners, renters and unemployed Londoners already looking for work are the most likely to be pessimistic about their employment prospects. London has always been a city of great poverty as well as great wealth. 37% of children live in poverty. So it's no surprise that 28% of Londoners report that they are struggling to make ends meet. This is highest for people who are new to the city, people who work part-time, and people who rent their homes. It's highest of all for people with a disability. Almost half of this group are struggling to make ends meet. The group of people who have seen their disposable incomes fall as a result of coronavirus is a little bit different. Self-employed people are the most likely to report a fall. This polling was conducted in May, so hopefully some of them will have seen an improvement as support payments rolled in at the beginning of this month. But we've no doubt it remains an uncertain and worrying time for many of them. Parents and part-time workers were already struggling and are now struggling more. As low-income Londoners are more likely to have experienced job losses or hours reduction than higher earners, this vulnerable group is being adversely affected. When people simply do not have enough money for essentials, they are forced to use food banks. Use of food banks has been rising for the past few years, and the Tussell Trust, the largest operator of British food banks, report that demand has doubled since lockdown. In our poll, about 1 in 14 Londoners reported using a food bank in the last month, rising to 1 in 9 Londoners with disabilities and 1 in 9 parents. 1 in 7 young people are using them, and it seems likely that this will rise further as opportunities for young people tend to be the hardest hit when unemployment starts to rise. Most Londoners are planning to stay put over the coming year, with only 8% saying that they're likely to leave London. The last recession stemmed the flow of Londoners towards the rest of the country. They were kept from moving by uncertainty, constrained mortgage availability, and better job prospects in the capital. This might well be the case again, but perhaps Londoners decide that despite the challenges, London still offers them the opportunities and connections that they want. To end on a positive note, despite everything that's happened in the last months, most Londoners are happy living in the capital, 41% of them. We're going to keep tracking these questions as the months go by, so stay tuned for the next issue of the London Intelligence.